Hello, welcome to the RoRoShow. How you doing? Finally, man, we made this happen.
We made it happen.
Do you actually remember the first time, or the only time we met?
Luna Lounge.
That's right. Yeah, that actually sounds really off. We're saying Lula Lounge. It sounds like some sort of strip joint.
Yeah, like oh shit, we had the same stripper.
Yeah,
You had
yeah,
can
we're
too.
fighting over the same person. No, that was really cool, man. I mean, we played a gig, like a half an hour set of our album, which has been released, and then you played. I think before that, right? You played before us,
Yeah.
and it was really cool. I was like, wow, this guy's gonna be big one day, and he is big. But
Hey, getting it.
yeah, I mean, like, do you think since then your sound has changed at all? Do you think you've developed? Is
Oh
you
yeah, 100%, 100%. I feel like I think at that time I had my second project out that was like Gappy.
hmm
Uh, I feel like with that I was coming off my first where I was just like getting to grips with like production of myself, da da da, and just like having that on a full project and releasing that. So the second one, it was like still very like I had the ideas, I had like all our ideas, but like in retrospect, I was like, it was like the second step. But now I feel like at a place where the shit that I make right now is like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I can fuck with it in a different way, if
yeah.
that makes sense. Like, it's like those were like the stepping stones for like where I'm at now, and I feel like I've just got to the place where I'm like, cool, this is solid, and now everything I can do above from here is gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get started with it all? So when you did that gig with me, I think it was 2 years ago? Feels like such a long time ago.
Whoa, wait, that was 20, yeah, the start of 2019,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, February 2019. Yeah.
So how long were you rapping and making music at that point?
Cool. At that point, 2019, I guess it would have been rapping probably about 10 years, 12 years,
hmm
12 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and like producing, because I started producing in like, I'm gonna say 2015, so that's 4 years, so it's like the fifth year. Yeah, so like I've been producing for 4 years and like rapping for like 12. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the question is why? Why did you get into it? What do you love about it? Producing and
Uh,
rapping.
I think the type of person I am is like if I see something and I fuck with it, I want to do it.
Yeah.
So like rapping, producing, even shooting videos, like all the videos I do, I like shoot myself, like merch, like anything I think is cool, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna find a way to do that. So yeah.
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 What's really interesting about your website and everything you do is it's like you can just tell it's you. Like it's very distinct. Like it's like this is
Appreciate it.
it's very like branded. Like
Yeah.
how do you come up with it? Do you think about these ideas and you think about trying to collate and make things seem similar, or do you kind of go with the flow and just make it
I
how you
kind of
feel?
like go with the flow and make it. I was talking to two of my friends, their names Nikki and Henny, and I was saying to them how like I feel I've okay, this is how I'm gonna explain it. I feel like there's a formula to make like really good stuff, and I never really followed that. So I just went into things being really trash. So so what I feel like is that I've like perfected trash. So like the trash that I've made was I've like perfected it to a point where it's now my own style because it wasn't what you're supposed to do, but once you get good at what you're not supposed to do, you get good at something completely different and it gives you your own style with it
Hmm.
because it's something like that is not like really fitting into boxes and like that's how I see it and I think that's how everything has like a cohesive thing because it's just things that I think are cool and then I got kind of good at making them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. Like with music, it tends to be those mistakes, the things that you don't think about that tend to define you in some ways.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100%.
Yeah, I find that really interesting. It's like you kind of like you want perfection to a certain degree. You want it to sound amazing. You can spend hours mixing and producing,
Oh
but
yeah, 100%.
but it's the things that you don't even think about that people actually start to review and critique, and it's like, and they think that's what makes it outstanding or unique. Um, Maybe we should think less about making music and just go with the flow more. But I guess it's
Yeah,
hard to do.
100%. And yeah, I mean that's the thing, especially if you're like trying to make it your career. I know a lot of people. It's like, well, that's great. I can make stuff that I think is cool, but is this stuff that's gonna make me money? And like, I know that's like a big thought for a lot of people, but you kind of gotta be like, you kind of gotta say fuck it and just go all the way, like throw out any kind of inhibition because like those that kind of stops might even stop you from making the money you think you might make, or just like if that's how you want to see it. Because I'm like, if you see it from the money perspective, which is like reasonable because that's how we need to live, it's gonna limit you to like a lot of like capabilities the way you're like, well, I can't go too left field or I can't go over here too much because that might not be like what's popular for people to listen to. And then sometimes you just gotta say fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's possible to be unique and also make good, substantial money from music, or there's a compromise that you have to make in some ways?
I feel like yeah, I feel it just takes time and you've got to have the time. And I guess that's it. Not everyone has the luxury of having the time. I feel like having the time is actually a luxury. And I feel like I've had that, like being able to like go to like a college or like school or whatever, and be able to do it and like have that time. I think it's also a luxury, and also it's you've got to really want it because I've known people in like really like bad situations. There's so many artists where they'll tell you, "Oh, I had to do this, this, this," and it's like, how much do you really want to do what you're doing is also going to play like a huge part. So like you're gonna have to sacrifice certain things to do that. So I feel like yeah, you can like make money off of like doing what you want. You just gotta know that it's not gonna happen overnight. And I feel like that's what we're like perceived like, oh man, this shit's supposed to happen in this amount of time. But like some people it might take like 15 years. Like
So
that's just how it is.
is that your dream then, to be a full time artist, or are you a full time artist at the moment and you got to that point?
Uh, I'm like a mid-time artist. Like
Yeah.
I guess like the luxury thing is I get to live at home with my parents, like with my mom. So like um I can like any money I make from music I can like save up and stuff. So like in that way I'm like really like fortunate. So yeah, I'm pretty much a full-time artist because everything that I do right now and it's what like gets me money. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk. I want to learn more about your past actually, because you say you're from Lewisham, but you got this American accent. I can't help but notice.
Yeah.
So how did you what is your background?
I used to live in Atlanta. I moved over here. Um Went to school here and all the education upwards. I went to when I first moved here, went to live in Ilford. Then I moved to Lewisham, and yeah, that's like the summarized version. Yeah, so quick and snappy.
Yeah, that was very very snappy. I mean, do you talk about that in your music as well, like your in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of your background and your past?
yeah.
Um,
I feel like in a lot of songs I do. I feel like that's like interesting. Also, just like talking about stuff in like music and like that. And I feel a lot of people take a lot of music at surface level. So I know a lot of people be like, see me and like, oh, dude, like, bro, it's funny. Like, they'll be listening to us. I remember there's a song on my new album called Following Killer, right? And someone was like, oh, yeah, I love when you da 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 da. And like, they were like picking out these stuff. And then they got really weird when I was like, oh, yeah, there's this bit at the end of the first verse where I'm like talking about like black people dying and stuff, like from like police. And they were like, oh, shit. But it's like I feel like sometimes because everything with myself is like very colorful and like I have like a very outgoing personality and I'm not bubbly, like people think it's all just that. But I'm like people can be more than one thing. Like I can be like just chatting the most shit. But over here I could be like, yo, but this is happening in the world, and I'm like, that's human beings. Sometimes we pee, sometimes we poop. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, how do you balance that? Because I have noticed in your music there is a kind of sense of, I mean, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but there's a sense of melancholy as well. Like, I feel there's a certain kind of
Yeah.
like, use kind of minor chords and like kind of there's a bit of sadness element to it as well. But at the same time, like I've seen you improvise on stage and like you're like just going for it. Like, so
Yeah.
how do you balance that? How do you kind of know when to make it kind of a bit more somber and chill and sometimes make it more intense?
I think it's feeling. Like if I yeah, it's like feeling. So what the way I make like projects and stuff is always take like a year out just to make it, and normally um I guess because you're in that headspace making one album, there's gonna be themes. So obviously, some days I'm gonna be reflecting on like really cool moments, and some days I'm gonna be reflecting on moments that weren't so cool. So I think it's not even crazy hard. It's just like, how do I feel with the moment? Like, what am I seeing? What does like this chord that I've played? What does that strike to me? Like, it's just those things, and then they go into building like whatever the song is. So the song could start out happy as fuck, and then hit the bridge, and you're like, damn, bro, you alright? Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I feel like over the years, I feel like my music has got more, even though there are melancholy bits, I think it's got more happier from like the first project I dropped to like now. I do feel like, um, actually, I don't. I don't. I take that back. I was thinking about certain songs. But yeah, but yeah, I do feel I say there's more optimism. Even though I've always been a very optimistic person, I feel like there's more optimism in my music now. Maybe because like things that I wanted when I was like 16 and stuff making music, like I've kind of like got close to now that I guess the optimism is there. But yeah.
It's almost like these projects are like diaries, right? When you're 16 into
Yeah,
now,
yeah, 100%.
you're maturing, you're seeing things with different perspectives, and so you basically you go with the flow and you create these, that create an album or like a structure of potential songs.
Hmm.
And at the end, do you then kind of collate them and think about where you want them in the album? I mean, because that's what I find the challenge sometimes, like with going with the flow and also then trying to put it into a project portfolio in some ways. Like
Hmm.
where should it fit in the whole cycle?
Yeah.
Because you have to then think about it, and you don't want to think about it. It's the same thing when you come up with like a really nice idea of a song or a demo, and then have to re-record it, and it's like it takes out the kind of inspiration, the flow that you had initially.
Wait, do you re-record a lot of demos that you make? Do you like do demos?
I do demos and then like I sit on them for like 2 years because I try to rewrite them,
Yeah.
and every time I rewrite them or re-record them, it doesn't sound the same. And then I have the struggle of, okay, let me try and change things up a little bit, and then I try to make it sound different, and then it's like, actually this doesn't sound authentic to what it initially was. So it's like it gets really confusing for me. Do you have that problem too?
See, that's why I asked you about that because I don't really do demos. Like, I know a lot of my friends do like demos of songs, but like, I kind of like, I guess I do demos, but in a way that, so I would make the song and, or there's like awkward off like Gappy. Like, I had that beat for maybe, I think, 7 months, and I'd always go back to it and listen to it. Never wrote to it, and then one time I just wrote to it. There was that, and there's also a thing where I always like I might write the whole song, go back to it, flip it again, da 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 da, flip it again until it's something else. But I guess that is a demo. But in my head, I'm no,
Yeah,
that's just the song, and I
yeah.
keep changing it. But
It's like
yeah,
different versions of the song. You just go through
yeah,
different
yeah,
versions. So do you use Logic Pro? Is that your main?
yup, yup.
I mean, I wonder if music, when you were 16 to now, has music making changed as well? Is it easier to make good music on your laptop, or
Oh hell yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I was making some garbage. I was making some garbage. But nah, just even in like certain having certain plugins, knowing like what compression does, like just knowing how like the mixing process goes. So like in making the beat, I can be like, well, when I use this sound, it's gonna be like it won't work frequency wise with this. So like I can really like know before I've made something. I know, okay, cool. This is how it's gonna sound like. But I don't let that always super dictate how it's gonna be, because I think that can limit. But just knowing that, okay, this might just be like hell to mix if I like use this frequency against this and make my voice like this, like stuff like that I've learned over the years. And just like getting better making music. Like I feel like the more you do something, you're gonna get better regardless, like whatever you do.
Yeah. Well, how do you develop that area? Is it just you don't think about it, just over time you just get that experience, or have you done some courses and learned from particular individuals?
I guess YouTube. YouTube is my god. God, like I always say, like I'm like a child of the internet, because I don't think I would exist without the internet. There would be no me without the internet.
It's just our generation, isn't it? It's just it's just such a great source. Even podcasts as well, I think, are great to learn things as well.
Amazing. Because I was like producing, I learned from YouTube, like anything. Oh, okay, how do I mix this? YouTube. Like, oh, okay, just anything in my life. Like, oh, okay, how do you learn how to like print something on this? YouTube. It'll tell me.
It's got
like,
everything.
Basically, it's like I never really needed anyone else. So like with music, I feel like I just learned the fundamentals from YouTube from people, and then I just winged it. So I'm winging it. Like even playing the piano, I couldn't even tell you, like I can sort of like know the key, but that's just from like jamming with other people. But just in like general of like learning music, like I was just like, cool, I'm just gonna get better. And now like people, oh my god, like that's sick. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I just know these chords and I'm just fucking about, and I know like distance between things, like how to make stuff like major, minor, dissonance and all that, and then just like go, well, let's go from here.
Yeah, and I mean sometimes not knowing is just the best way of approaching things, and that's where you can do things different. Because if otherwise if you just overanalyze things, then you end up just doing what other people do in some ways too. So I mean, outside of music, I know you're a skater as well, right? You do skateboarding.
Yeah.
And how does that influence your sound in stuff that you write?
I think a lot. I have a whole song called Sesh. That's just like an ode to skateboarding. It's like
what is skateboarding culture like? Because from what I've read, because I'm a bookie, I've read there's a lot about image, like different type. There's a style to it. It's like it's a complete different culture in itself, right? There's also photography. There's like there's so many different elements to it. Do you bring that to the equation? Do you bring that to what you do?
I guess subconsciously, because skateboarding is kind of like once you're in it, it takes over your whole life. Like a majority of my friends are from skateboarding. Like I would say 90% of my friends are from skateboarding. Most of the people I make music with, I skate with. Like it's just like so conjoining, and like even I would say from like the photos, from the way I dress, I like dress to be comfortable skating, because I skate like pretty much every other day. So it's like it's just life. Like in my head, I'm like, how do people not skate? That's how I like even when I look at things, I'm like, oh shit, you could skate that. But I know in my head, like if I was walking up the stairs with someone who didn't skate, they're just like, we're walking up some stairs. But I'm like, oh shit, I know some pro would hit this rail and like do a back tail, or it's just crazy like that. And like the way you view the world is like completely different. It's way more open.
Yeah. How do you learn these moves as well with skating? Because I bought a skateboard, I think a longboard actually, and I think that's the easiest way to start learning. I guess it's not as difficult as a smaller skateboard, but it's just you're just falling over a lot.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you just learn. For me, I never had I was never falling off the skateboard too crazy when I started.
Yeah.
So
that would
which
put
was
you off.
fun. Huh?
That would put you off, wouldn't it?
I mean, not really, because it took me ages to get Ollie. I remember like my friend who'd already started, he had like basically all the like a bag of tricks, and I was like, I can't get this fucking Ollie, and I never would have saw myself doing the amount of tricks I can do today, which isn't even like crazy compared to like what all the pros do and stuff. Need to get my nollie and switch game up, but it's just like that time I was just like, I just need to learn how to ollie, and I remember it taking months. I know some people it just takes like maybe like 2-3 months they got ollie, bro. It took me ages, and I remember like wanting to learn how to kickflip, and I was like, I'm never gonna get a kickflip. I'm just gonna fuck it. I'm just gonna learn how to ollie on curbs, and that's it. And then it got to a point where I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going, and then I am where I am, and I think that's like what you got to put into everything, really.
Yeah, I find that interesting because do you think that you tend to get into what your friends are into, right? If your friends are into skating or rapping, for example, or making music, then you're going to be more tend to be into it. But do you think? Because I personally, when I was younger, I didn't have many friends that were into rock music or into the indie and that kind of stuff. Do you think that it's important to have a friendship group to support you with what you want to do, or do you think that anyone can have a passion in anything?
I think anyone can have a passion in anything, but it is nice. I wouldn't say it's important. Hell no. I would say it's nice.
Yeah.
Because it depends on the person as well. Because some people, I guess, would need more encouragement. Like for me, I feel like even if I didn't have all my friends, like I didn't start music with like friends. Like when I met all my friends who I make music with, I'd already made music for years on my own. So like, I feel like it really depends on who you are. Some people really need that encouragement and that like community around them, which I think even for me, that's great. Like for someone who like, I could do everything on my own, that's amazing. I feel like that's why it's like really nice to have that. But it really depends on who you are, because sometimes you need someone to just be like, yo, like, I know I have friends that because I've made certain stuff or I could help them make things like beats or like mix their projects, that now that they feel more comfortable doing things with other people. So yeah, I think it really depends on the person.
Yeah, because I'm trying to determine if music is a loner activity where you share music to other people, or is it a way of connecting with other people. I just I wonder if it is as you said, maybe it's different for everyone else. But what is your take on that? Do you think that making art and like even poetry, for example, or lyrics, that's such a personal thing? But what do you want out of it? Do you want people to hear it and just sort of experience it?
I guess like it's a funny one, right? Because I would say I make music for myself, but do I make music for myself if I record videos to put out? Think about promoting them. Like at the end of the day, I'm not really making it for myself. I'm like, I think the initial target, like initial like making it is like, do I think this sounds good? And at that point, I'm like, okay, I think it sounds good enough for me. I'm going to give it to the world. So I think there's making music for yourself and then for yourself and others. And I think for yourself and others is where I fit. And I think some people just make music for others. Like, what do people think about this? And I feel like that would be a lot of people, because I know a lot of people have like, they really care. We're like taught to care what people think about things. So like, you might go, oh, I won't use this certain thing because I know like people might clown me. But I feel like me personally, I never thought like that. I would just be like, oh, I think this is sick. And I remember in school, I was the only one who made like really strange rap music, and everyone was very like, they made like, you're just average stuff. And like, I used to get clowned for it. I used to get killed. And it never really bothered me because I was like, well, I think this is sick. So it's like, yeah, I feel like that is kind of making music for yourself. So like those one or two people that like do listen to it and connect, they mean the most, because you're like, wow, I think this is amazing. But the fact that you think this is amazing too, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I guess it makes your friends that you do have stronger because it's distinct. Yeah. But what do you think is the best strategy to promote music and remain authentic? Do you have a way of doing it? Do you try to make sure that you are careful with what you put out there at all? Or
Um, yeah, I try to not like oversaturate things. I would say, like how I said, like so. Before 2016, I had like a bunch of music. I think I had so many songs out, and this is before my first project, because my first project was Planet 2016. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like start afresh, and like from here on out, I'm gonna like just have all these stuff that I produced, and I want to see how far that can take me. So like every I guess every even year I drop an album. So like 2016, 2018, 2020. So like the next drop I'm gonna have is next year. So I feel like in that I don't even have like albums that are too long. Like maximum is 10 songs. My last two are 9, and I feel like that makes it that you make the most refined you in those projects. So like obviously having a year for 9 songs is like you can always go back and tweak them to, but you don't want to tweak something too much where like you overthink it, but to a point where it's like cool, I'm gonna leave this now and like let it flow and then perform it. I feel like performing is always a great like promotion tactic. So the COVID stuff was like a L because
yeah, I was going to ask you about the COVID stuff. Yeah, I really wanted to know, like, how did you promote yourself in COVID times with an album coming out? And
yeah, it was what I did is as I said, man, the internet is amazing. Yeah. So even before COVID, what I used to do is certain things. I used to go on Omegle. I still do that now, where I like go on Omegle. I set it to like 5 people to talk to 5 people every day for 30 days. So show 5 people, different people my music on Omegle, because that's complete strangers. So
what is it? What is Omegle? I don't think I've ever used Omegle before.
It's just a like chat roulette, like a random chat site.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I do that, share it with people, see what they think. Also go on Reddit, look up forums of artists that I like, think people might like my music there. Look at forums of just music where people just share music, like communicate with that. Look at feedback threads. Go on Twitch. Just look at people on Twitch who are streaming music, or like, because there's a lot of people on Twitch who do feedback streams, or just like listening streams to new music. I got like a list of like 100 blogs. Like most of them don't even reply, and yeah, that's like my promotion tactic. And like obviously posting on social media, like cool clips from music videos. Music videos is great as well. But yeah, that's like I think my whole promotion tactic.
Have you ever used like Facebook ads or Instagram ads for your music?
Yeah, yeah, and I hate them.
Yeah, I've heard that they're not very useful. They're not very good.
I hate them. They're a waste of money for me. For me, I don't know. Other people always use them and they might work for them, but for me personally, ads in general, like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, I hate YouTube ads because they seem to just inflate views.
Right.
And I don't really care about my views being inflated because cool, it looks great that, oh, wow, you might have, I don't know, like tens of thousands of views to someone in my position, but I'm like, it doesn't let me know how many people are really interacting with what I'm doing. I'd like to know like a real engagement. I want to know that if I put out a song and it flopped, I want to know that it flopped so I can know where like I went wrong. So
interaction is good then, because you can get feedback and then you can.
Yeah. So and then you kind of just I just want to see how like it can all happen just naturally, like me just sharing to other people and knowing that. I remember when I first got like 1,000 views on a video, I was like gassed because it wasn't like, oh, I just pumped in a bunch of ads. It was like, this is like a moment I've been like waiting for, and it's just like
reached
amazing.
That 1,000 mark.
Yeah. So it's like they're more like these landmarks.
Yeah.
They become like landmarks, and you're like, wow, that's great.
And where do you so is it Spotify mostly where you send people to listen to your music?
Everywhere really, like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Bandcamp. Like basically it's like anywhere that people stream. I guess Spotify may be the most because a lot of people do use Spotify. But yeah, if anyone's like, where can I find you? I'll be like, just go on my Instagram, the link, because the link in my bio is to my website and has the link to all my streaming things. So
Yeah, because I just feel like with making music now, it's all streaming based. So
yeah,
it's per click on your track, and in the past people would buy physical CDs
hmm
or tapes, but
yeah,
making music now, making money from music is so much harder. Do you use merch and stuff? Do you buy your merch, and does that help
yeah.
with
I
making
mean,
money?
yeah, I feel like the physicals. I feel like there's a downplay that's been put on them because I feel like because I've made physicals from my first project till now, and like I just dropped the vinyls, and they sold really well because I feel like people do love like if the album's good and people enjoy the artist, even how small you are, they will buy your stuff because they're like, whoa, this is cool. So it's just like having merch and stuff and like projects like albums and physicals I think is amazing because it's a way for people to engage,
Hmm.
and like I think it even extends the album's life. So like I feel like that's why a lot of albums seem shorter than they are, like their lifespan, because you have the ability to just go on your phone and press play. Where when you own something physical, you can always look at it and go, "Wow, remember that album?" And I feel like there's still albums that just completely were on streaming and like people have like a love and affinity for. But I feel like having something physical to remember that album by is just different because
Mm.
it gives you a sense of time. Like, oh, I remember that time when I da 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 like shows. Like everyone remembers a show or that first show that they went to. Just like physical moments, I think are amazing. So I feel like I would never not sell physicals, and I feel like if you can, like any artist, like selling physicals is amazing.
When did you do your last show? Like performing in front of people?
Um, I would say 2 weeks ago.
So
Because
yeah, I mean, are you down? Are you COVID? Is that are you okay with just going out there and performing now? Because I think a lot of artists are sort of struggling with that and going out there. Do you think that things are going to go back to normal? Are going back to normal now?
I think things are going back to normal, but I think more than things are, sorry, more than things going back to normal, I think it's people's mind state. I think before physically things go back to normal, people's minds need to be, because you gotta think like this has like changed how a lot of people think about stuff. Like I know some people they'll be walking down the road on their own and have a mask on, and it's like, well, actually you don't need it, but it's because we've been like fuck like COVID is like
Yeah,
that.
it's a fear, it's anxiety, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and like that's completely valid, and I'm like, well, we the first step is actually like mentally getting over that.
Yeah.
And then which I feel like a lot of people are, because I've been doing the speaker in the park things, and what that is I started it last year. Remember when they were doing like eat out to help out, and everyone thought, oh yeah, everything's going back to normal.
Yeah.
I did it then when it was like, okay, cool, yeah, we can all be outside, and like it really like it caught on. So I've actually been performing pretty consistently. Like, yeah.
Do you think that you've changed during COVID times? Because you're right. People are more anxious going outside, but in terms of I guess we've had a lot more alone time.
hmm
Do you think that you've reflected a little bit more, and do you think that's impacted the way you make music as well?
Nah, not at all, really. I won't lie.
Still the
I don't
same.
think, yeah, it's still the same. I do feel like it's given me like a new perspective on like maybe lyrics, like just like just new things to write about, which I think every year gives me. But like this whole period is giving me like a lot in that sense.
Yeah.
But like nah, the way I make stuff, because even before, like I said, I've always done these internet things, so um it's just enhanced that, I guess. So I guess maybe that is a change, that it's enhanced it.
I mean, what
Uh,
what are the big influencing factors that happened in the last year that has been really significant to you, and you thought that actually it's so much so that you've written about it and it's been part of your lyrical writing and music process.
I think it was just I remember writing stuff about not being able to. There was like a promo song that I made, and I think that was like basically just like COVID for me in a bubble where it was just like you've been just separated from these people that you see every day.
Yeah.
And just like shows being gone, like life as you know it just being pulled, and feeling that a lot of things that, I mean, my whole life became illegal pretty much. So like I couldn't do shows. Anywhere I would skate, I would get kicked out of. Because like, oh, it's like COVID, there's too many people. Couldn't go to any skate parks, they were locked off. Like police are like super harassing you if they wasn't before. So I was like, in that sense, yeah, it was just like, damn, like motherfuckers don't want me to live. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, but like, it's not even like, oh, okay, maybe I'm gonna be on my own today, and it'll be like someone's going to press me for something, and that's how I felt. That that time was just like, in that time, yeah, that's what it was. It was just like being alive was pretty much illegal if like you did anything creative.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so glad that things are sort of. I hope they're going back to normal and you can live life normally again. But we don't know. We just never know with this thing. It looks like it won't go away for a long period.
I don't think it's like coronavirus. I don't think it's ever going away because it's always gonna jump. I mean, like the cold is never gone away. Like so many things. I feel like we will build like immunity. Like there was like the whole Black Plague shit and stuff. Like where like there's so many diseases that come, people like get, people die, people get really ill, and then like we come over, and I feel like that's something that's always gonna happen for as long as humans exist. There's gonna be a new coronavirus in the next maybe 50 years, 20, we don't know, but like.
Yeah. Do you think? Do you think it was made in the lab?
It might. I feel like they might cook that up.
Yeah.
Extra spice. Extra hot.
It is really weird, and yeah, maybe we'll find out how it all started. But it's just amazing how we've all, as you said, like it's almost like some parts of your life were made illegal. It's like every single person in the world had to change because of this thing. I don't think
that's what I found amazing. The anyone I talked to from around the world, it's like that's one thing I know we've all been through. Yeah. Like someone I completely don't know lives a completely different life to me went through coronavirus. Like
it's a great way to connect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you got your own podcast as well. Actually, talking about connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about that. When did you start doing that podcast? How many have you done so far?
I think I started started 2019, and that was because like I thought I was just like fuck radio.
Yeah, radio's dead, right? I mean,
radio's dead, and I was like fuck radio, fuck playlist, and all of that because like it's just like me personally, I couldn't give a shit about Spotify playlists. Like I did get onto an editorial one once, but it's like it doesn't mean anything to me, and I don't think it should mean anything to anyone in like the sense that you shouldn't put so much onus on what other people like think like that.
Music,
yeah, because I'm like, this is fucking Jenny in her room listening to a bunch of songs and going, yeah, this is cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just like, yeah. Wait, what do you need to get? Oh, cool. 2 seconds.
No worries at all.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's just Jenny in her room typing, going, "Oh yeah, this song is cool. This song isn't," and it's just like someone's personal opinion who is like backed by a company, and like
I have no idea how they come up, how they actually work editorials.
Yeah, basically that. It's Jenny, it's Mark, Stevens, Tyrone. It's like it's the whole gang. It's just some person just going.
Yeah.
It's someone just going, yeah, cool, I'm going to curate a playlist. And it's just like, cool. Well, if they can do that, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
So, like, even when I was like, I was submitting to blogs and stuff, a lot of people, what I did actually do a lot, this will go into like the whole, when I started the radio thing, is I sent it to a lot of people smaller blogs. I'm talking about people who just started and like, or who've been going, but they're really like small and niche, and I would send it to them more than like, I don't know, like a complex, because it's like cool. I know like someone like Complex will probably not reply to me because I don't have the numbers they want. But I know if I did have the numbers they want, I know my music's sick enough for them to post it. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna go to like people who I can grow with, and we can build something completely new. So, like, rather than like striving and trying to be in the rat race, why don't like we just make our own shit over here?
I like that. It's almost like you're just creating your own foundation and your own structure,
Basically,
your own building, rather than relying on other people.
because I'm like,
entities,
that's like from like how I made music, from everything for me personally. It's like I've never had to rely on people, so I'm like, I would like to put people who are coming up like after me or even with me in a position where I can help them and they don't have to look to like Complex and all these big ass places. I keep like saying for Complex.
You really hate them, don't you?
Oh man, they never go post me now. I'll never get pictures of
yeah, after this interview.
Oh man,
Yeah.
as soon as they hear this, well, fuck.
yeah.
But I mean, still, it's like I could care less if they do or not, because I'm like, if I build my own stuff, I would never need you, like, in the sense that I have the people, and like, there's always going to be artists who they wouldn't want to take a risk with, that if I get big enough, I can just be like, I will take the risk with you. But I know I might not even be able to take the risk with everyone. Some people I might be like, I think your music sucks. But I think what's great about like starting something like the radio stuff is that might inspire someone else to do it. It has a completely different taste. And then they are helping someone in their community. And then you get all these bubbles of people who don't need like really big companies.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being independent, and you know, the internet. You can just do whatever you want, really, and you can showcase and share content that you like. But do you think that record labels are going to die then? They're dying, or do you think they're still pretty important? Yeah, they're still going to exist.
What's that?
They're still going to exist, I guess, and they have a lot of power and influence, aren't they?
I mean, yeah, they're never going to die, but it's the only way they would die is that if they didn't have the power that they have over the industry, because I feel like because they have so much money, anything new that comes up, let's say like a TikTok or a Spotify, or they'll just buy into it. Like they just have the money to do that. So I'm like, well, if we just don't pay attention to them, and like if you're independent, you just do what you want, then they kind of don't affect you, because there's still so many people that we both don't know that are like making a great living off of music. Yeah. So it's like, unless you really want to be like, I don't know, Michael Jackson or Drake, then like, I don't feel like you need to worry about a label.
I remember a couple of 10 years ago, there was, you know, LimeWire, and that, and I thought that was the kind of like, this will kill the, you know, the music industry in some ways, but it didn't.
It came back.
It came back, yeah, and streaming services took over, right? Mm-hmm. But I think there's still the possibility, the potential that there could be something like that, where you know, these corporates don't have the control of. Oh
yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, even though we have all of the streaming and stuff, they still don't have like complete control, because the way they're doing it now is just like, they're trying to sign artists that are like a little bit popping, so they can like basically, it's like getting your thumb on every hole. Like if you got holes in like a tap or something or a sink.
Yeah.
It's like if they can like, because it's not even like all of these people are trying to give credence to. It's like, well, if any of these guys blow up, we've already have them.
Yeah, I mean, this is how a lot of these big companies work. Even like Google and Amazon, they tend to buy things that are just getting popular, and they use the analytics to just buy it straight away, and then they profit from it, and they've got so much money and buying power, they can do whatever they want. But this is the problem with like corporates and business and music, because music is such a personal, you know, very kind of it's intimate in some ways, and then you got like these businesses that are trying to profit off something which is very human and very kind of, I guess, primal. And it's just I just wonder if in the future will that always be the case? Will there always be these two entities that are trying, with two different types of things that are fighting?
Yeah, I think as long as we have capitalism, we're always gonna have that. It's like I couldn't tell, like how I said, there might be someone whose music I don't like, but I couldn't tell them that they shouldn't make music or their stuff isn't good enough. Like, I might not like it, but that's me. And the thing is, with putting money like that into music and business and music, it makes it less what's the word, like it make there's a word for this where it's like where it's not personal.
Impersonal?
Like, yeah, so it's like not impersonal, but like the feeling you have towards it isn't, like, it is what it is, and then there's a feeling.
Right.
I don't know if you know the word I'm talking about. It's like such a simple word, and I don't know if it's in my head.
Okay.
But it's like a business telling you there is a right and wrong way to make music, but there really isn't.
Yeah.
So, like, well, they see it as, well, what makes money and what doesn't. And with music, it isn't necessarily that, because even if you do talk about that, there's always things that you would never expect that blow up. And I think that's the thing with the music industry, is that it is a business and they can't predict all of that. And that will always be the case. So there will always be this hope, I guess, or like you always look to someone like, nah, this stuff is gonna like go down. There's no way that people like this can exist, and like this like rugged, like unmovable thought would exist. But like I feel like they'll always exist in tandem and parallel.
Yeah, I guess the question is, if there wasn't any money in music, would people still make music?
Oh yeah, 100%. There'll be less people making music, but there'll be people making music.
Would the content be as good? Like, I mean, I like, for example, Drake and these big artists, even Michael Jackson, but they come from a breed of like music that's really, really like, there's a lot of money in it, right? There's massive, amazing production on it. Mixing's incredible. And also the lyrical content, what it's talking about, it's very much catered for a particular audience, right? Mm-hmm. So, if we didn't have that competition and money coming in there, would those kind of people that are really, really good even make music like that, and it wouldn't be as popular?
I think people right now, like, who's some underground kid is making some amazing shit that is like on some like Michael Jackson level, but we won't know, and like this motherfucker might not even be releasing it. Yeah. So I feel like regardless, there's always going to be amazing music, whether there's money in it or there isn't. I feel like just creating music gives it that energy to be amazing, or like anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all.
Powerful thoughts, man. Powerful thoughts.
Hey, come on.
No, it's been awesome talking to you, man. And so what is the next steps for you? Where do you see yourself? Obviously, things are going back to normal now. In the next couple of months, 6 months, so hopefully things will be completely transitioned. What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself?
Oh man, I mean, I got a show in a venue that's coming up in July. Yeah. So hopefully, like, things go great and that can be available.
Yeah.
But yeah, just up really. I'm dropping like singles with my friends, like basically like loose songs that we've made like over the years, and I'm just been putting them out. So I think the next one is coming out on the 12th of June. So yeah, every month I'll be dropping those. The first one was Check Freestyle by my homie Kojo, and it's just like us performing them in the room. I just chuck them up on all streaming. People can find them if they want to. I'm working on my next project that I'm gonna release sometime next year, probably in like May. What else? I'm filming a lot of music videos for people as well. So like I'm trying to get like my
I didn't know you did that as well. That's like your side hustle. You should do one for us. Huh? You should do one for us as well.
Yeah, I'm down. Because it was like I film all these videos for myself and like for my girlfriend. So I'm like, and why can't I film these for other people as well? Like I feel like I've got like they're doing I got like a nice vision. So yeah, I'm like working on videos for other people. I'm working on a project with one of my other homies, Kojo, Let Kojo Fly. We working on an album for him that I'm producing. Yeah, man, I got like quite a lot.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Busy guy.
That I'm missing.
Sorry?
I feel like there's even more that I'm missing.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I've,
make sure to send me the links, and I'll put it in the thing, in the whatever it is, comment box thingy, description box
okay.
below. But yeah, man, it was great catching up. It's been 2 years. We've been I guess not been 2 years. It's been like a year trying to get this thing sorted out.
Yeah, a
But
whole damn year, but we did it.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, thank you, man, for your time, and I wish you all best of luck.
Appreciate it.
Take care, man. I'm gonna go. Goodbye.